Hi there, welcome to Using Priority Workspaces. I'm Diana and I'm going to be your digital learning coach on this adventure. And today we're going to focus on priority workspaces within your Google Drive. I know Coach Amy has done some cleaning up your Google Drive. And so to tag on to that, we're going to explore those priority workspaces. I think that this is a feature of Google Drive that maybe is a little bit underrated for some people. So if you have a big unit that you teach coming up or a big project that you manage, files that you need to access frequently and quickly, this is where priority workspaces could really be advantageous for you. So I see a lot of potential primarily for teachers, but we are going to explore a little bit later on about possible ideas for how our students could use them. So let's do a quick overview of the priority workspaces. Functional to your Google Drive, just natively, you have the ability to create up to 8 workspaces. And I mentioned possible ideas for when you might use those workspaces, projects, units, big events coming up. You can hide a workspace, you can delete it once you're done with it. It does not remove your files from your Google Drive. Each of the workspaces can have up to 25 files assigned to it. So you can add those files as you need and edit, review, swap files out. And then I'm going to show you some ways that you can personalize that workspace area, whether you add an emoji or a number so that you control the order that it appears in. So let's jump in really quickly to our Google Drive and look, where do I find priority workspaces? Right below the new on the upper left-hand corner, you'll see priority. So when I click on that, it takes me into these workspaces, and you see that I already have some created because I use this quite a bit. I have the ability to create, and that is a clickable link for me because I have not reached my limit of 8. Once I reach my limit of 8, then that option goes away. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to show you how to create a workspace. So we're going to click on this. It's going to have us title it. In my role as a technology instructional specialist, I am stationed at central office. And so I'm going to call this central office must-haves because there are certain things that I have to do. So once I create a workspace, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to bring me into the option to add the files. So when I click on the button and I want to add files, it brings me up if you use Google Classroom and other aspects, Google Sites, different things of Google, this familiar option pops in that allows us to access our recent files, My Drive, shared drives, and toggling on over, I can get into shared with me, starred, and the different computers. I'm just going to use my recents because I'm just going to show you how you can select multiple files. So I'm going to select actually this slide deck I'm using in the video because this is something that's going to be a key component for our staff this year is cleaning up their Google Drives and getting things organized and different ways they can use it. We had a staffing change here at central office, so our letterhead has changed. I'm going to use my mileage sheet that I log everything on. And then because I do a lot of PD, I'm going to keep track of that PD attendance form. So just select insert. I love that you can select multiple files and insert. And then voila, the magic happens. You can pop it right into here. If I want to add more files, I have that option. It'll pop out that same menu. When I'm done adding files, I can click done, and it's going to take me back to the Priority Workspaces menu. So let's look at how I would manage a workspace. So let's go in, first of all, and review professional development. So I'm going to view the workspace. I just have 4 files in here, and it'll tell you how close you are to the limit. Some of the workspaces I've got several files in. So with professional development, I hosted some open houses this summer, and I'm looking at some of these things. I'm going to add a couple files here. I'm going to show you, you can actually add files to multiple workspaces. So that PD attendance form, and I already have the responses in here, but I want that form because I use it quite a bit. So I can come in and add that to the workspace. Actually, I just made a rookie error, so this is a great learning opportunity. I didn't insert the file. I got so used to the fact that I could just click and I thought it would select. So I didn't select to insert. So learn from my mistake there. So I'm going to come down here. I have to make sure that I insert the file into the workspace. And then at any point in time, I can tickle the snowman here, the 3 vertical dots, and I can interact with the file, or I could remove it from the workspace if I need to. Remember, it does not delete it from your drive, it just removes it from this particular workspace. So now if I want to personalize and reorder and organize these workspaces, I'm going to tickle that snowman again, and I'm going to rename this one. Now, my computer does not recognize a traditional emoji keyboard, so I always have to go to a third-party site. I've already pre-selected the emoji I want to use from Emoji Copy. So I'm going to copy this in, and I'm going to paste it into my title. Now, my MO is that I always put the emoji at the beginning and the end. I like symmetry. So once I add that to the title, you'll see that now this central office must-haves is the first priority workspace I have rather than the 5th one. So you'll also see I've reached my limit of 8. So if I need a new workspace, I would have to find a workspace that I don't use right now, and I could hide it or delete it. And then that would give me the opportunity to create more workspaces. So this is how you create a workspace, you add files to it, and you manage those workspaces. Let's talk more specifically about ideas for use of workspaces. So some ideas that I have curated, and I'm sure that you would have even more, for teachers. If you have general classroom or teacher information that you need to keep track of, I think of all of those documents that I use with my, I don't really call them rules and expectations, but I had those types of documents, and I had different ones for the different courses that I taught. The administration and secretaries were always sharing a lot of information for back to school that I needed to have quick and easy access to. So creating a priority workspace just is a way that outside of a folder, it makes it just a little bit more at the forefront that you could use. If there is a big unit that you teach and you need quick and easy access, I think as a Spanish teacher, there was one unit in particular that I taught that had information that I accessed all year long, like on vocabulary or with different verb conjugations, or if it was just my favorite pet project. I taught a unit on directions and formal commands in the Spanish language, and we turned my classroom into a town, and the students had a lot of brainstorming for business ideas, and then we would vote on a town name and street names and avenue names, and we would rearrange the room, and then they had to do written descriptions. They had to give me directions. They had to speak to me and tell me how to get from one place to another. They had to follow commands. And so that pet project of mine, it would have been really nice to have all that information in one spot. Those of you who are ECA sponsors, this is a great place for ECA sponsors and coaches to curate those files that they need access to on a dime when somebody really wants the information from them. From a student standpoint, I see potential, especially for our secondary students who maybe are entering into that research phase and they are putting a lot of things together. They might have a need to create a workspace for their research projects. And the older they get and they're starting to think about scholarships and essays and applications, they can curate all those files into one workspace. And then again, club and activity information, especially if they're in a leadership position, this is a valuable way to help keep them organized. It's just a little different than a folder. Yes, they could put everything into a folder, but that workspaces, I think, is a little bit more visual and organized, and you have a little bit more control. So those are just some ideas that you could use to put priority workspaces to work for you. And I would love to chat more if you have ideas, questions. you are welcome to contact me. My email address, my Twitter are here. And then Keep Indiana Learning, we are at the ready to help you out with all sorts of professional learning opportunities. And so here are the variety of ways that you can keep in touch with Keep Indiana Learning on all the social media platforms. So happy learning.